What's going on there, everyone? This story makes me personally really happy for the most part, and it's something that I've been calling for ever since I got into politics. Trump administration boost ability to deny green cards to immigrants using welfare programs. I think that's a brilliant move. Why? Before we even get into the story, why would you want an immigrant coming here to immediately become part of the welfare state? That's no good, and that happens quite a bit. Quite a bit. So hopefully this program will stop this. But we'll see. You know how the government works, or the lack thereof sometimes. The Trump administration on Monday issued a long awaited rule strengthening the ability of federal officials to deny green cards to immigrants deemed likely to rely on government aid. Officials described the so called public charge rule as a way to ensure those granted permanent residency are self sufficient and protect taxpayers in the process. Agreed. The principle driving it is an old American value that it's self sufficiency. U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services Acting Director Ken Cuccinelli told Fox News in an interview, "It's a core principle, the American dream itself, and it's one of the things that distinguishes us, and it's central to legal history in the U.S. back into the 1800s. A lot of people don't realize when it comes to immigration, we've always had a thing. We've always had something set. People, for some reason, certain groups of people, think that just a few decades ago or something, we had unfettered immigration, just people allowed to come here. I don't know where they're getting this from. I don't understand it all. It'll also have long-term benefits of protecting taxpayers by ensuring people who are immigrating to this country don't become public burdens. That they can stand on their own 2 feet as immigrants have done in past years, or in years past." He said, "It's not only a recipe for their success, but for America's success, growing out of our immigration system. The updated rule will better define and expand the factors that can be considered to deny an applicant on these grounds." While the public charge inadmissibility standard has long been part of the U.S. immigration law, the term has not been formally defined in the statute. The new rule, which will go into effect on October 15th, will define public charge as an immigrant who receives one or more designated public benefits for more than 12 months within a 36-month period. See, my original thing, my plan, would have been if within the first 5 years of you immigrating to the U.S., you have to get on public assistance, you got to go. Because you're doing something wrong. There's no reason for you to be on public assistance in actuality. I mean, work. Don't. And this goes with a lot of Americans. Work. Don't overspend, and save as much as possible. Don't live beyond your means. We're at some point we're all guilty of this. I've been guilty of it many of times, trying to sit there and live a way more luxurious lifestyle than I possibly could ever afford in my life. And I scaled it back because I realized all it was doing is hurting me. But I've never been on any programs for it. I don't even think in my situation that I would be able to even get public assistance. And you can read in between the lines for that. Those benefits include supplemental security income, temporary assistance for the needy families, as well as most forms of Medicaid and supplemental nutrition assistance program, commonly known as food stamps. The rule expands the number of benefits that can be considered from interim guidance issued in 1999. Now, I do want to clarify one thing. I am for immigrants that have been here from yesterday to be able to get what is it called, WIC, which is a public assistance thing for women and children. I think that's kind of cool, especially when they're going through what is it? When they're going through like the pregnancy period, it helps get stuff ready. You know, it really does help. It helps get stuff for the mom to make sure she's eating properly and all this stuff. And then when the baby's born, it helps with getting baby foods and all this stuff. So I kind of like that. You know, I kind of like that. Those factors will be considered along with standard considerations such as age, health, financial assets, and education. While Cuccinelli's USCIS is the lead agency, similar filters will be used at the State Department for those applying for visas from abroad and Border Patrol. Cuccinelli told Fox News that the rule is not so much about limiting successful applications. Note that that President Trump has sworn in more new citizens on an annual basis than were sworn in during the tail end of former President Barack Obama's administration, as it is about providing clarity to both the USCIS staff in charge of enforcing the law and also to immigrants about what benefits will factor into the public charge determination. There's no reason for anyone to be confused. It's easy to answer the question, is X covered or isn't it covered? That is a quick and easy answer to get via the USCIS website, he said. The rule updates guidance from 1999 issued by what was then the Immigration and Naturalization, that sounded scary. The Immigration and Naturalization Services, INS, which stated that the reliance on benefits such as SNAP and Medicaid would not be considered as part of a public charge evaluation. That doesn't even make sense. I'm glad this is finally getting rectified, so to say. The difficulty we had for the last 20 years under the 1999 guidance is that it was in anticipation of a rule that was never entered, and it was fairly minimalist guidance, and it has not been particularly useful in the work we do at USCIS, he said, calling the new rule better and more thorough attempt. Which it is a lot better, because that 99 stuff, two of the biggest issues weren't even on the table, which was SNAP and Medicaid. The rule is likely to cause significant backlash from Democrats and immigration rights groups who have warned that it may spook migrants away from claiming the benefits they need, fearing it will lead them to being deemed inadmissible when requesting a green card. That I can't say that hurts my feelings any, because it doesn't. I'm all about Americans. I'm sorry. I'm not about just migrants and asylum seekers all the time, because half of it's on false premises anyways. Most of these people are getting coached into doing it, so at the moment, I just don't trust them. But that's just me. There are already signs that the rule could significantly reshape who is being granted permanent residency. Politico reported last week that the state's department has been cracking down on potential public charges, with rejection on public charges grounds surging to 12,179 in fiscal year 2019 from 1,033 in fiscal year 2016. It also demonstrates the extent to which the Trump administration is moving its immigration policies beyond simply tackling illegal immigration, instead questioning the status quo of the legal immigration system as it is held since the 1965 Immigration and Nationality Act. Cuccinelli, who was named acting director of the agency in June, said that the rule is entirely in line with the president keeping his promises to make the immigration system work better for America. I got to say, yeah, I'm for it all the way. Everyone's always complaining this, that, and the other about the immigration system, the asylum system, this, that, and the other. Well, the only way to fix it is to take a look at it and fix it. And that's what I believe he's doing here. He's seeing that, the welfare system in America, and this is with regular Americans really considered, is terribly, terribly in debt. I mean, we owe so much money to this system that it's unreal. The benefits people get are sometimes better than people, I mean, actually, a lot of times better than people that work for what they have. I've seen some crazy things when I worked for the little city that I worked for. There were some wild things coming out of the welfare areas where it doesn't make sense when you're on welfare driving an Escalade, you see that. And it's like, what? I'm sitting here, I drive a motorcycle because I can't afford a car. I can't afford gas in a car and this, that, and the other. So, how are you driving around in an Escalade? It doesn't make sense. But like I said, this is a step in the right direction. At least if we can get some of the... If we can keep people from coming here that are going to immediately be on this, causing more strain on the taxpayers, then go for it. I believe we should use our tax-funded safety nets for Americans, generally. Like, it just seems like that makes more sense. If you're here on a green card, you're not really an American. You shouldn't be able to get our benefits. But I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me on this. Some of you may agree. I'd love to hear your comments, and as always, like, share, and subscribe. I will catch you on the flip side.